Hi, everybody, and welcome on this beautiful Mother's Day to A Course in Miracles. So it is Mother's Day, and here's the thing: if you're a mom and you are attached to your role as a mother, you're going to have a tough time. And if you're a daughter or a son and you're attached to, the role that you've assigned your mother to play for you, you're going to have a problem, right? So I think today is a good day to say, you know what? I'm going to give up the story that I've been telling about my mother and remember God. Yeah, that's the key. If I can give up the story, we all have a story about our mother and our father too, but we'll get to that on Father's Day. So I just thought it was a wonderful time, Mother's Day, to talk about our unhealed mother wound. We all have one. And, we have an unhealed father wound as well. And that's what we are projecting onto the world. And of course, the females will animate and show us our unhealed mother wound, and our males will show us our unhealed father wound, and blah, blah, blah. So I thought we'd get into that today, but going on the topic of the mother. Okay. Hi, Susan. Thank you so much. Yeah. Because remember, everything that you experience in your life comes to you from you. It came from you. So all the characters in your play, so to speak, you put them there. They all came from you. They didn't come to you. You projected them out. And then you blame, right? So anyway, what do you think? We're going to get into the mother wound. You want to do that? So, you know what I did? Do you remember years ago, I had put this book together, which I'm still revamping for so many years. Now that Jackie's home, my little editor, she can help me with that. By the way, if you're looking for any writing, check out Jackie's website. I gotta give what is it for Jackie? A shout out for Jackie. And that's at franklyspeaking.com.
franklyspeakingcopy.com.
Oh, franklyspeakingcopy.com. Hi, Yvette. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah. And so, yeah, if you need any writing, whatever, you can give her a shout. But anyway, so she's going to help me refine this book of mine that I've been working on for years. But I pulled up the other day, I think I'm going to pull up one of the chapters from my book called Healing Our Mother Wounds. And I thought, what a perfect day to do that. So, and it's right in alignment with our lesson, being that it's a review lesson based on lesson 103. God being love is also happiness. God being love is also happiness. Along with lesson 104, I seek what belongs to me in truth. So I'm not going to find it in the external world. I don't care how good your mother was to you, how good your father was to you. It doesn't matter. You will never find happiness in the external world. So we have to give up, these beliefs that if I just had the perfect mom, I would be happy. And we are being told here that God, being love, is also happiness. And so in order to have happiness, we have to have happy thoughts. If you don't have happy thoughts, you're not going to see happiness in the world. You're not going to see happiness in people. What makes you be happy in the world is the fact that you are holding happy thoughts in the mind. So if you blame the world, you don't have happy thoughts in your mind. If you think it's the fault of Ukraine or Putin, because that's a big talk today, or COVID or the pandemic, and you're all in that blame game, it's because you don't have happy thoughts in your mind. So in order to know happiness, God is love, and it comes from happiness. You need to hold happy thoughts in your mind. And in order to have, to be aware of those, hi there. Oh, good. Hi, Sue. The sun was shining. Yay. Right? And that's another thing. We get mad because the sun isn't shining. And we say, I'm not happy because the sun isn't shining. Oh, I just found an attack thought. I know, right? It's so subtle. I'm not happy because Putin is threatening nuclear war. I'm not happy because my mother compared me to my sister. And all the reasons why we're not happy. I'm not happy because, my mother didn't love me as much as she loved my sister or my brother. Wham, wham, wham. We have all these reasons why we're not happy. And we blame the weather. I'm not happy because it's been cloudy for 6 weeks. Can you find those unhappy thoughts? Unhappy thoughts make an unhappy world. It's not the other way around. And so this work is so, we got to go deep, 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 deep and pull up those unconscious attack thoughts held in the mind for lifetimes that are all about blaming the external for my lack of happiness. And Jesus tells us today, God, being love. Now, God is like the Christ in you, which is the divine mind. You are a divine mind, and that divine mind is in the mind of God at all times. There's never a moment when your mind and God's mind are not joined. What happens is that when you forget that, now you start telling a story. And the story's all about why I'm not happy. And it's usually because of you. Or it's because of whatever it is, right? That's why I'm not happy. So today we're going to undo all that, and we're going to start by looking at our mother wounds so we can purify the mind. Okay? Because the mind is held with all of these self-concepts, beliefs, that are just the indoctrination told to you by your mother, by your father, by people that are asleep, and you bought into the story. So we want to look at that and have our minds purified. We want all that darkness to come up into the light, because you can't bring light into darkness. You have to bring your darkness to the light, where the light will dispel the darkness, right? So that's what we want to do. And it takes courage to do that. But Jesus says, if you look at your darkness with me, with the Spirit, we will dispel that darkness together. And that's just so beautiful. So what we're hearing here is that to look at your darkness with the ego is just to attack yourself and to continue to condemn yourself for whatever story you've been telling for your entire life and perhaps lifetimes. But Jesus says, if you look at this with Spirit, if you look at it with me together, he says, I have the lamp that will dispel the darkness. So he's telling us today on this beautiful Mother's Day to give up your story, to give up your attack thoughts, not analyze them, and remember God. Because God is, I am, all is well. That is the only thing that's true, and nothing else is true. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go through healing our mother wounds. And if you want to have your computer ready to take some notes and stuff, please feel free, because I think this is an excellent day to get deep into the unresolved feminine side of us. Because actually, your mother has shown you throughout your life your female side. And what is the female side? The feminine energy is about being receptive. Can you receive the atonement? Can you receive that you are what God created? Can you receive that? Can you integrate that? That's the feminine energy, to be open to receive, right? So I started this chapter by saying difficult memories, and we all have some. And Jesus reminds us, do not hide your darkness. Don't protect your stinking thinking. Don't protect it. Because when you protect it, that's how you get sick. When you protect it, that's how you become depressed. You have to let it be flushed up and out. So difficult memories, whatever they are for you, once looked at with acceptance. Remember I said that when you learn to not identify with your story, but rather walk on your story, everything changes for you. Because when you learn to walk, as a divine heroine of your story, then you realize that everything that happened to you happened for your awakening, and there's no more attack. If you are attacking your mother, or anybody for that matter, it's because you are identified with a story, a script that you have running in your mind. Okay? So you have not accepted your story as something you created unconsciously to help you wake up. So when we look at our story with acceptance, that's like saying, yeah, so that happened to me. Yeah. So what? Who cares, right? Then we unite with spirit. We unite with the divine mind. And then nothing can touch you. When you unite with your divine self, you are invulnerable. If you are not united with your divine self, everything will be a problem, including the weather. But the birds don't think it's a bad thing that it rains 40 days and 40 nights. In fact, the birds keep singing. That's so cute. So, the dark side of mother must be addressed. The shadow side. And only then will you be able to bring your wounded child. We're all wounded. We'll be able to bring our wounded child to the Christ within, to the Spirit for illumination. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. So when you were born, you came out of the womb, your little head was turned immediately toward your mother. And in your eyes, or in the eyes of a baby, your mother was your world. She was the first person you looked at, pretty much. And the doctor placed you on your mother's chest. Maybe you started nursing, or you were with your mother. So that bond is there. You believed right from the get-go that mom was like God. She was your everything. All right. But as you grew up, for many of us, that dream of having this perfect, all-powerful, wonderful mother turned into a crazy nightmare because she started to do things, say things, and act in ways that were opposite to what you kind of thought she should be doing, which was you had all these ideas of how mom should be. And that is not what you were now experiencing with her. So now the attack starts to come in. But once again, in order to survive around mom with all her stormy moods, your mom have stormy moods? All her complaints and her ill-natured ways. What happened was, in order to get that love from mom, you would have hid your light. You would have suppressed your natural way of being, which was this carefree little love bug. It wasn't safe to be that, so you hid your light. We learned at an early age that love came with a price. We still are. We still think love comes with a price. Just think about your life and all the people that you love and how you do things and say things maybe just perfectly because you're afraid of rejection. You're afraid they won't love you. That's coming from your training when you were a child, and it's still playing out in your story. Your story's still alive. So we learned that love came with a price, and so we practice conforming, giving up our spirit. We conformed. We became chameleons in order to keep peace and all of that, right? So we conformed to get the love that left us feeling rejected. We would do whatever it took to get that love. What do? We sell our soul just to get the acceptance. right? We sabotage our dreams because if I pursue my dream, my mother may not like what my dream is about. And I want her love, so I'm going to sabotage my dream. I feel like a victim. My mother victimized me. She felt like she had power over me. She tried to control me. She didn't love me enough. She didn't understand me enough. So I am a victim. Yeah. And that child archetype, the wounded child who then grows up feeling entitled, having expectations because you've assigned a role to your mother that she can't fulfill because she too is working out her stuff. Everybody's working out their stuff. Now listen, whatever happened to you in your childhood, it's not your fault. But as an adult, it is your responsibility to clean it up. That's the thing. You can't go on blaming for the rest of your life and know God. Remember that the gifts of peace and joy come by holding happy thoughts, not attack thoughts. Right? The gifts of peace and joy come from holding on to not a self-concept, not a made-up self, but to know that you are a divine mind, that you are divine, not because your mother said so, not because your father said so, but because God said, this is my beloved daughter, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. And until you learn to align with that, you'll be running that script, that story. So, what happened? When we work hard to get the love, then what happens is we grow up being very angry. But the anger suppressed, it's deep. So it's in that root chakra. The bottom 3 chakras? That's body identification. The root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. They're all below the heart. And you're identified with that script you have running. That self-concept that you call you that doesn't even exist in truth. That's just like a blip in time. It has no meaning. It's just a story that you're telling yourself. And as long as you tell yourself that story, you're not going to heal. You're going to continue on the wheel of samsara, lifetime to lifetime, with the same story running. Okay? This is an opportunity for us in this lifetime to wake up and ascend in consciousness and reach Christ vision, which means I see myself as a divine mind. And because I see myself as a divine mind, I now see you as a divine mind. And I recognize that this world is a divine Leela. And as the observer of the divine Leela, I am invulnerable. Whew, how about that? That's happiness. That is happiness. All right. We carry that anger and fear into adulthood, and that's created the life that you now live today. So all the areas in your life where you're angry, you're tired, you're fed up, you're desperate, you're this, you're that, that's your unconscious guilt. That is your unconscious shame. That is your unconscious attack thoughts. That's your unconscious story. It's all suppressed. And you forget, right? Jesus tells us today, forget the self-concept, forget who you think you are, and remember God. Not as an external man in the sky with a beard, but you as the Christ child, you as the divine mind. Forget your story and get here in this present moment where the only thing that's true is God is. Wow, that's what we're working toward, right? So, from one generation, okay. All the imprints of your childhood are there in the unconscious mind. And healing our mother wound is mandatory if we want to rise up and merge the divine masculine and the divine feminine, or unite them to know God. So you can't know God without healing that feminine side, the female side, which your mother showed you and all the females show you. And that's your own anger. Yeah. All right. So although the imprints of childhood may hold ugly memories for you, tell yourself that, well, it's time to be open and receptive to my story and embrace my story so that I can learn to walk as the hero of my own journey and to recognize that everything that came to me from my childhood came from me. It came out of me, and I own it. That's the first step towards self-love. I own my story, and it's okay. It's a wonderful story. In fact, you could make money with it. Send it to Hollywood. All the stories in Hollywood are people's stories, and we sit and watch them on TV, and we go to the movies and we watch people's stories. Well, how about your story? With all your characters? Oh my goodness, you could write a script, a movie script, and send it into Hollywood and get some money. All stories are the same. Every story is the same. It's the story of coming from the light, falling into the darkness, and then having to work your way back to the light. And only you can do it. We think we can get to the light by blaming mom. We think we can get to the light by blaming dad or anyone. The only way you get to the light is by exposing the darkness, exposing your attack thoughts. From one generation to the next, okay, mom has passed down to you, whether you know it or not. It just keeps going. Are you going to stop the cycle of insanity, or are you going to keep the story going? Your job is to stop the cycle of insanity. So mom passes down to you her beliefs. She passes down her ideals. She passes down, her thoughts. In fact, she demonstrates what she believes. She shows you by who she's being what she's about. Okay, not only did she pass them down to you, she literally demonstrated her thoughts and beliefs right in front of your eyes. So if you think back to your mom, you would then know what she believes and thinks by how she acts. Just think about that for a minute. I know. And if you say, well, my mother was a victim. Ooh, good. That came from you. Well, so are you. So you have to find in your life where you're a victim and heal it. Forgive it, give it up, give it to the Spirit, have that illuminated so that darkness can be dispelled. When your story is forgiven completely, you walk with gratitude. You walk with gratitude. All right. So she even animated her thoughts and beliefs, and many aspects of you, she's animating them. You don't know they're in you. You've rejected that you could possibly be that way. Let's just blame mom. And again, guys, it's whatever happened to you in your childhood, okay? So be it. But now it's for you to forgive, give forth those attack thoughts. And remember God. That's all that matters. Only truth is true and nothing else is true. Okay, so she's animated all of these unconscious aspects of your own psyche. Your defects of character you will see in your mother. You will blame her. If you are blaming your mother, you are still not accepting that behavior, those patterns are in you. Okay, that's why you spent years condemning her, either by making her wrong or you just don't like her. You just don't like your mother. Until you can move into a space of saying, I am so grateful for my mother. Listen, I went through it. Oh my God, my mother was an amazing woman. She was absolutely amazing. And then she became an alcoholic. And then I was in attack mode. Well, now why would I choose my mother? Why would I choose that? To show me what not to do. Your mother is showing you what not to do. So my mother's showing me, if you become addicted, this is what it's going to look like. She doesn't say that. Because remember, what comes into your space comes out of your consciousness. And if I say, well, my mother was just a big victim. My poor mother, she took so much abuse. Poor her. Well, you're talking about yourself. You're talking about yourself. And not to say that maybe your mother did take abuse and all of that. right? But it's not about your mother. It's about you reacting, you healing, you forgiving, you letting go of attack thoughts and remembering God. Okay, so your mother may have been difficult to be around, and in your eyes, you may have seen her as unfit to be a mother. And there's lots of stories I hear in my one-on-ones. People say, my mother should never have had kids, right? But God didn't think so. You're here. What did Susan just do?
She was having a chuckle.
I know. Yeah, that's a good thing. When we get healed, we laugh. That's why Buddha laughed when he woke up, because the whole thing is a dream. And it's all meant to have us purge our unconscious guilt. And remember, guilt is the result of believing that you have separated from divine mind, which could never happen, has never happened. But the minute you believe that you did, now you move into defense, and you have to protect yourself and defend yourself and hide yourself, and you push down all that attack, the guilty thoughts. Okay, so now as an adult, it's time to give up the need to feel better than your mother. Oh, I get that a lot. People say to me, well, now that I'm a better mother, I'm going to do it better than my mother. And I say, well, good luck with that. You're identified with a concept called there's a perfect mother, and you're it. Not going to happen. There's no perfect anything. We're all a work in progress. Oh, and they get all upset. What do you mean? But my mother was like this. I'm not going to do that. And I said, well, no, you're going to be a control freak in a different way. That's all. Yours is going to look different. Maybe your mother didn't want you to, do a certain thing. And so you're going to teach your kids not to do that certain thing, but you're going to come up with something not to do a certain thing, but it's just going to look different. But it's the same energy, the same story. It's all the same. If it's not love, it's control. Yeah. Okay. So remember, now as an adult, we're cleaning it up. We're not going to be saying things like, I'm going to be better than her, blah, 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 because God sent her to you, metaphorically speaking, as a teacher. Your mother is your first teacher because she's the first person you saw. You bonded with her. And just know that God often gives us difficult parents in order for us to learn all about forgiveness, acceptance, compassion, empathy, so that we might ultimately turn inward toward the light that's in our hearts, which holds the source of everything. Your mother is not the source of your everything. God is. And that's what you have to remember. And I didn't talk to my mother for years. I was so ticked off at her because I had a whole list of she didn't, wham, 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 all this whole list. I didn't talk to her for 5 years. Can you imagine? Anybody out there didn't talk to your mother or father for 5 years? And then, spirit is so cool. I started to feel things like, oh, what if she dies? Uh-oh. Right? What's going to happen if my mother dies? Oh, no. But still, my ego was so huge that I was not going to bend. Why? Because the ego needs to be right. You're wrong, I'm right. Remember, the ego's domain is winners and losers. Wow, I tell you, it was a big healing for me. It was about being humble. It was about being honest. It was about being a big girl with a backbone of my own and getting a grip, right? It was a lot of work. And did I want to forgive my mother? No. The ego never wants to forgive. The ego wants to make sure that you stay ticked off forever because now you're on that side. The ego wins, right? Love loses. The ego is a distraction, and it will put all kinds of distractions in your life so that you never look at yourself and see your own defects. Yeah. So finally, when I couldn't take the pain any longer, the pain of the guilt of, I knew that it wasn't right what I was doing, right? Because we're all destined to return to love. You cannot return to love if you're holding on to attack thoughts. You cannot return to love if you are blaming anyone. And I wanted that love, not externally. I mean, I wanted to feel that I was whole and complete as God created me. So I had to do some major forgiveness work here. And it was not easy, but the rewards were in heaven. What happened to me? Because I called up the Christ in me to speak for me and to be with me, I called up the Christ in my mother. And it created an amazing, wonderful healing. And then I got with the program, which is called Be Present, Remember God, and Forget the Story. Forget the story. I know. Took me 5 years. Okay. So let's see. By examining what you defined as being imperfect or unacceptable behaviors in your mother, you'll have a really good idea of what you came to heal within your own soul in order to reflect the wholeness or the holiness of your divine mind. So everything that you didn't like, and this is like, get super honest, guys. I mean, we've been on this healing path for a long time, but the layers keep peeling away. I talk to people all the time and they'll say, I thought that was gone. And I say, well, it's a beautiful thing because there's a new layer, another layer to be peeled away. And welcome it. Yes, I don't want any guilt in me, because guilt in me equals depression, sickness, anger, the hostility, right? Anything that I suppress will manifest itself as something that I don't want. And remember our lesson, God being love is also happiness. And God's will for me, for you, for all of us is perfect happiness. So we have to purify the mind, which means to get rid of stinking thinking, to turn all those attack thoughts over to the care of the Spirit. And she will dispel that darkness by shining light on it. She will help you to see that the error was not in your mother. The error was in your mind. The mistake was not in your mother. The mistake was you were identified as an ego. Even if your mother murdered, even if your mother was a thief or whatever she did, it is still not yours. It's still not up to you to judge her. She is animating something that you need to forgive. And until you see her innocence, you will remain guilty. That's big. That's big. See, in this play, remember, there's murderers, rapists, thieves, they're all there. But in the ego's domain, one sin is not worse or better than the other. They're all equally the same. If it's not love, it's fear. Whether it's a murder, a rape, a this, a that. See, there's no hierarchical love. Love just is. But in the ego's domain, there's like, a murderer is this and a rapist is that. No, it's all the same. It's all the same. You bite the piece of cake, you get the whole cake. You're capable of murder. You're capable of killing someone. You're capable of stealing if you had the chance and you were hungry. Right? Yeah. But we're busy being spiritually correct. We're busy being perfect because we're not healed. Because once you say, yeah, you know what? I could kill. Absolutely. If I focused on that, what I focus on expands. Because the power in my mind is so powerful that, wow, like a laser beam. If I go down that trajectory, I'm going to get the result of what I think. Woo! All right. So we want to remember that our consciousness, Okay, it's like a spiral kind of thing. For lack of a better word, Jesus says in the Course in Miracles, how long does it take to remember God? It's like the holy instant. But if we put it on the linear timeline, it's a process of undoing a thought system that's based on guilt, punishment, sin, attack thoughts. So we could say then our consciousness evolves from one generation to the next. So what we do is whatever we saw our parents do, we improve. We improve upon it. And each generation goes higher, so to speak. I mean, if you look through history, we're not in the Roman Empire, although sometimes I wonder, right? I mean, the stories are all there, but we evolve. We become lighter. Our containers can hold more light. So whatever my mother did, I don't make her wrong, but I say, well, she did that obviously because she was doing the best she knew how at the time. She didn't do it on purpose. What's that line? If you knew better, you'd do better. She didn't do it on purpose. So my job then is to recognize that that was a call for love. When my mother acted like that, that was a call for love. And so now that I'm awake to that, I'm going to choose something else. Because the decision maker in my mind can choose to behave or respond in a different way than what my mother did. So I'm not going to make her wrong for me to be right. We don't do that, right? We just see that, wow, that was a call for love, what I see my mom doing. And thank you, Mom, because I now know that the decision maker in me can choose something different. So thank you so much, Mom, for playing that role for me. So I can now see that being a victim or allowing myself to be abused was simply a call for love. I see that in you. Wow. And now I can take it higher. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So examining the legacy of your mother will help you heal all your unexpressed emotions and feelings. Like once you really accept it and you look at your mom honestly and you say, wow, this is what I loved about my mother and this is what I didn't like, and be honest. Don't put your mother on a pedestal and think like I have to keep my mother perfect. You've got this like concept called my mother was the perfect mother and my father was the big bad boy. Like, don't do that. Get really honest. Like, well, why did my mother put up with that abuse? Like, oh, my poor mom, she was a victim of my father. Oh, like, look at everything. Tell the truth because that's yours. It's all coming from you. Okay. So we're going to, where was I here? By exposing all the darkness in relationship to your mother and shining light on all those difficult areas, you'll live your life as a much more empowered person. That's where your power comes from. Power comes from purifying the mind. The more you let go of this unconscious guilt, these unconscious attack thoughts, the more empowered you become because you're becoming real. The real you is a divine mind. So now, remember this, your father, and we'll do this on Father's Day as well, your father reflects the male half of your consciousness, and your mother acts out the other half being female. And now we know that we cannot reflect holiness without balancing the masculine and the feminine energies within first. That's why Mom and Dad are such a gift, because they show you where you're out of balance, what needs to be healed, what needs to be forgiven. It's just beautiful. So stop right here. Okay, just take a few minutes. And I want you to see the face of the most, I know what, close your eyes. We'll do it this way, all right? I want you to see the face of the most beloved and divine expression of a divine mother. So she might look like Mother Mary or Kuan Yin. She might even look like your grandmother. Okay. Now visualize that on her face, she looks very peaceful. She looks radiant. this divine mother. She's filled with contentment, and see if you can feel her loving energy, this divine, beautiful mother. Now get a sense of her unconditional and all-inclusive love. She loves you. All the divine mothers that we see, Divine Mother Isis, Mother Segment, Mother Hathor, Mother Athena, they're all females. They're all mothers. If you have a womb, you're a mother. You're a female. And you feel that unconditional and all-inclusive love. And feel that love in your heart as a longing. That's what you want now. You want to really feel yourself as pure love, that I am love. I am accepting myself unconditionally. And that's something you desire more than anything else, to really feel and know for sure that you are what God created. Now connect with that feeling even deeper. Go more inward with it. And just keep feeling that love. Like, how wonderful would it be if I could just feel that I love myself so unconditionally, that I love myself, it doesn't matter, and I'm so invulnerable in this love. This is the love of self that you're craving. And this is the love that you're missing in your life. This pure acceptance of self, you, all of you, your story, everything, that you are just perfect. Everything that happened to you, it's all so perfect. And that this love, the Divine Mother's love, the spirit in you, is awaiting your return. Like, she's there right now and she's awaiting your return. And she wants to help you heal your broken heart. Because there's times where you feel that your heart is really broken. And she's reminding you that it's time to stop pursuing, external power and looking for pacifiers in the world outside of you. And she's reminding you now it's time to listen to the call of your soul. And that soul wants love. And so we begin by healing our mother wound today, because your heart is missing the mother, the part of you that can accept your story, the part of you that says, you know what, it doesn't matter what happened to me, I'm okay, and I am what God created. Your heart has been so closed off from your story. You're protecting certain aspects of your story because you think that part of you is not lovable. And the mother is here saying every part of you is lovable because you are what God created. And so today we open with great compassion and we return to love, and we honor our earthly mother as a teacher. And we go deeper and find the healing gift that Mom animated. And so you can put a smile on your face and say, if you've done this work for a lot of years, say, I'm ready to go a little bit deeper here. I'm ready to be more honest. I'm ready to look at the dark side of my mother and tell the truth, because I want to know the darker side of me and bring it into the light. And just know that the Divine Mother that you're seeing, maybe she just looks like a more enlightened aspect of you, a beautiful you that's one with God, and you can see that. Or maybe it's Mother Mary or Isis or something in form. That's okay too. But that love, that light, she's in you, and she's waiting for you to bring all the shadows, all the sadness, the story, the complete story to her. Just know that the nurturing mother energy is born out of the cosmic womb of creation. And this energy is committed to the collective vision of humankind because it's a passion for life energy. And this energy that comes from the divine in you cares both for family and community. It sees the one in all and the all in one. The divine feminine in you, as the mother light, is able to protect and nurture and support. She's way beyond the special relationship, being able to love everyone equally. She sees with vision, and she lives to create unity in diversity. She is so strong and yet gentle, and she teaches each and every one of her children, that would be you, to embrace all of your brothers and sisters, which she considers to be her own. The Divine Mother in you has no need to be pampered or coddled, but has no problem relaxing into love. She is open to be loved. Are you open to be loved? She has no need to lie guilt trips on anyone, nor does she manipulate in order to get her needs met. Her duty is simply to teach you to open your heart and to fall in love with yourself in order to love each and every one of your brothers and sisters equally, no matter what. She demonstrates the power of infinite patience and unconditional love in all that she does. Remember the divine archetype of mother. She restores, she renews, and she regenerates. Therefore, being committed to the highest good of all, she is willing to do whatever it takes to get you to wake up. Her job is to help you remember God. So, in order to see the feminine face of divinity on the face of your own mother, you must first be able to see your mom as an innocent child of God, because she is. She is born innocent. So go ahead and visualize your mom. And I know you have a story about your mom. The good story and the bad story, they're all concepts, both positive and negative. Drop it. And remember God. Because she is the goddess. Her innocence is there. And once you're able to perceive her innocence, you'll be able to embrace all of her, everything about her, without fear. Because you'll know the truth behind her actions. You will know the truth behind her appearance, which is innocence. Whether you are a man or a woman, you have seen the feminine face of divinity, because it is a face that wears no mask. It is just pure beauty and love. The face of the divine feminine has no frown lines. She wears the beautiful, relaxed and soft, like there's nothing harsh in her face, nothing harsh. And the feminine face of God radiates light through her eyes and through her smile at any age. And her look is one of total surrender and reverence toward all creation, because her heart is soft and her heart is open. So once again, now we're thinking about Divine Mother as you would envision her. And whether it's the face of Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Isis, whoever that is in form, you will see the radiant face of the sun shining light on the entire world, full of serenity and grace, being filled with certainty that all is well. And again, we return to your earthly mother. Just take a moment again and see the face of your own mother. Does your mother reflect the Divine Mother's light, filled with love and compassion and unconditional truth? Are you able to see her innocence? Are you able to see her innocence? And again, if you're seeing anything but the peace of God in her, or joy and love that is the truth of her being, then most likely you have issues. And that's okay. We bring these issues up. And to the Divine Mother in you, who holds the lamp, along with her counterpart, Jesus the Christ. That darkness can be dispelled by the lamp they hold together. Okay, and just sit with that for a minute. And when you feel ready, I'll ring the bell. And you can open your eyes. Okay. So this is the deeper work that we're doing with the mother. And the whole point is that we know the story of mom, right? We all have that story, but can you see her innocence? That she absolutely played that role for you so you can heal. And how grateful. Gratitude is the only thing owing to your mom, really. Remember, you cannot deny half of the population, whether it's female or male, in order to feel safe and find your place in the world. You can't deny the female. And what's missing on our planet right now is feminine energy. That's what's missing. I can't even receive that today is a rainy day in gratitude and love. The Divine Mother can receive that the sun is not shining because it's not supposed to today, and it's a beautiful day. That's the Mother. That's what's missing. You must understand, no matter your gender, that it takes both energies, masculine and feminine, to complete creation. Yeah, Susan. Shakti, beautiful Shakti, otherwise known as the feminine energy, is inseparable from Shiva, the masculine energy. Like fire and heat, they go together. Like night and day, light and dark, you cannot have one without the other. Again, the sweet paradox of life. We must balance both the feminine and the masculine energies within our consciousness before we can step through the portal into heaven. Can you receive? That's the beautiful Mother. Can you receive? And your mother showed you where you can't receive. So now you're ready to take a deeper look into the life of your own mother. Well, let's see what she's been teaching you right from the moment you came into the world. Remember, Mom has animated your inner female. Mom has played the role in your life, and even though you don't like it, it was absolutely perfect in order for you to see what's going on in you. So what did your mother show you? Without healing the mother wound, the emotional umbilical cord stays intact. Ooh. And until you cut that cord, you will stay stuck in codependent and dysfunctional relationships well into your adulthood. Any coes out there? Codependent, emotionally attached to someone is definitely an unhealed mother wound. You have to cut the cord that binds. I think there was a book by John Bradshaw, was it? Susan, you probably know that. Cutting the cords that bind. I think it was John Bradshaw. Yeah. So, you know, we get all emotional. It's like my mother, and oh, my mother, you know, all this nonsense. And now we stay in codependent relationships because now we transfer the blame onto the wife. We transfer the blame onto the boss. We transfer the blame onto someone else. We need a scapegoat because we need a distraction so we don't have to look at our own unforgiveness. Okay? Oh, it's so deep and good. All right. Difficult memories, once looked at with acceptance, will unite you in this beautiful, triumphant, magnificent moment with the spirit. So we're looking at the dark side of your mother. Okay. You know, I think one of the things too that's important, if I bring it back to the Course in Miracles, we have these positive um, statements, you know, we talk about, well, my mom was such a good mom because she, you know, my mom was such a bad mom because she, these are all concepts. Both of them have to go, the positive and the negative, because they're all part of duality and you just see it as it is. Yeah. We say, oh, I love my mother because she did all these good things. Oh, well, if she stops doing all those good things, then what's going to happen? Well, now I'm not going to like her. So the good and the bad have to be given up. The so-called bad, right? We're just so crazy. So here's a question. Did your mother accept you for who you are? Right from the get-go. Did she tell you, you are so beautiful? You are, you know, here to just be yourself and to be joyous and to live a happy, peaceful life? Did your mother tell you that? She said, get to bed. Get those dishes done. Take that laundry downstairs and put it in the wash. Go to church. Go to confession. Go. Jamie said, go to hell. Right? So if you did not feel accepted by your mother for who you are, then you will have an issue, and that will be you don't accept people. So you're full of judgments. And it's not about blaming mom. Mom just showed you, remember, what comes to you came from you. So mom showed you what's in your consciousness. So now you have all these attack thoughts to people. Well, I don't look at that person over there. You know, oh my God, they're fat. Oh, look at that person. She's skinny. Oh, look at that person. She's a vegan. I hate vegans. Look at that person. They're a this, they're a that. All these are, how are we going to find happiness with judgments in the mind? Not possible, right? Not possible. Our lesson today, God being love is also happiness. So if I want to see a different world, then I have to think happy thoughts, not judgment, not opinions, not attack thoughts. I have to see happy thoughts. I have to think happy thoughts. Okay? So here's another one. Did your mother allow you to be yourself? Like, for example, you know, my youngest daughter, being an Aquarian, was a wild child. And she would come downstairs some days with the most funky outfits on, like a boa, feathers around her neck, like when she was 10. And she's going off to school like that, you know. And I would just say to her, oh my God, Jordy, that is so cute. And I would roll my eyes as she went out the door, but she thought she looked amazing. Did your mother let you be yourself? Could you express as God would have you be? Or did you have to do it a certain way to please her? Did you have to act a certain way to please her? Because if you did and you haven't healed it, that's what you're going to be expecting other people to do. To act a certain way, be a certain way in order for you to accept them. Because it's not healed. How did your mother teach you to love yourself? How did she demonstrate self-love? Did she accept her story? Or did she tell you a story, a victim story? And again, this is not about saying we all, you know, your mom may have had a really tough upbringing. So I'm not talking about, you know, she shouldn't have said that. But what I am getting you to look at is, how did you react? And did that give you permission to be a victim? Of course it did. Because your mom came from you, not to you. She came from you. So she's showing you that you still believe in victims and victimizers. You still believe in winners and losers. Okay? Did my mother receive love openly? Someone brings her a gift and she says, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Or did she say, no, 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 no. I don't need that. No. No, you give that to someone else. Right? Can you receive openly? If someone gives you a gift, do you say, oh, no, 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 I don't need that. That person down the hall needs it more than me. It's like, oh my God, God is trying to give you something through the hands of someone else and you're saying no. Right? Okay, so take a look at that. My mother took care of her needs. Or was she a woman that had no needs? Because she was a martyr. And she took care, right? Yeah, she took care of everybody else. I remember my mom. This is funny. So my mom had 9 kids. She ran our house like a battleship. It was spotlessly clean. You'd never know there were 9 kids running around, but she was like Sergeant Major, doink, 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 doink. And, but, my mother was a martyr. That was my story. Hello. So I grew up and I got to be a martyr because that looked like the thing to do until you heal it. My mother used to say, I have to do everything by myself. Now, one of you kids, right? Susan's laughing. She can relate to that. And on and on and on. And I would be like, well, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like inside as a kid, right? And I'd be having all these snide remarks inside. I'd never say them to her because my mom would smack your mouth. But, and I'd think, oh my God, you big martyr. Well then, hello, I get married and who am I? A big martyr. But still blaming her. So my mother mirrored what I needed to forgive or give up, a self-concept called martyr that I needed to give up. Okay. My mother had loving relationships with people. Unconditionally. Did I hear my mother speak about people in a very unconditional and accepting way? Or did I hear my mother gossip? My mother expressed gratitude toward my father. How about that one? Right, Sue? Oh, my mother didn't. No. So we learn from this. We either say, well, we didn't say this then because we didn't have the Course in Miracles or Dharma maybe, but we just thought, oh my God, my mother is not being grateful to my father. Like what? So that means I'm going to be grateful to people. Or, yeah, he doesn't deserve gratitude because he's always home late for dinner. So he deserves it. I'm going to be one of 2 ways. I either choose love or I choose not love. I either choose forgiveness or I choose attack. So what I saw personally, Mom was always angry with my father and she never expressed gratitude. It was more demanding. So I remember telling myself that if I ever got married, I would always make sure to be grateful to my husband. See, I didn't know this Dharma then. At 14, the depth of what we're going into. But something inside of me said, oh, I saw my dad as doing his best, but I didn't see my mom being grateful. And I thought, that's for me to be grateful when I get married or when I, am in relationship, whatever. So it's either you recognize that it's a call for love or it's not love, and you will carry that forward in whichever way that you perceive it. Okay. My mother validated my feelings. Did your mother validate your feelings? She probably didn't have time for that. Right? I remember being upset and my mother saying, oh, wipe that look off your face and quit your damn pouting. Get outside. That's how she validated my feelings. That's how she validated my feelings. We were not validated in most cases, not right or wrong. It's all learning, right? Then we grow up and say, my mother was so mean. She didn't know how to love me properly. She didn't validate my feelings. Poor me. And like I'm 45. Stop it. Sue, wasn't that Bob Newhart, that show, Stop It? Okay, so that means it's, oh, thank you, Michael, all the mamas, yeah. So it's up to me to validate my feelings. If I can validate me, then I can validate you. If I can validate my feelings, I can hold space for you. Okay, my mother used guilt to manipulate me. That's a big one. Women are good at that. Let's use guilt to manipulate. Well, I worked all night and I was at work from 4 to midnight and I have to get up early with all you kids and I make 3 meals a day and, The story got more, yeah, Joyce. The story got more intense. And it was like, I felt so bad and so guilty, so I better do something here. Not to blame mom, because remember, mom came from you. All right. My mother was nagging. Was your mother nagging? If you nag people, then one of your primary caregivers were nagging. And if your mother didn't nag you with her words, she could have nagged you energetically. But you were definitely nagged. Everybody was nagged. Everybody got nagged. It's Saturday. Get that house cleaned up. I want you out of bed by 9 o'clock because this house needs to be clean. We're having company and tomorrow we're going to church and we're getting all that. So I want that done. And those potatoes need to be peeled and in the pot by 5 o'clock because I'm at work and I don't get home till 8. Now that better be done. And did you throw the laundry and how about the clothes in the dryer? Did you fold them? Did you put them away? Okay. All right. Ooh. My mother used sickness to avoid. Did your mother use sickness to avoid? Oh, I just don't feel good. And you knew she was fine, but she just didn't feel good, or she had a headache, or she was a hypochondriac or something. Well, she's showing you that you're too focused on the body. Your mother emotionally abused you. She called you names. She hurt your feelings. She called you stupid. She said you were lazy. She told you she emotionally abused you. My mother pouted. Could you elaborate what you just said? If I can validate my feelings, then I can hold space for you. Yes, thank you. Hi, Yazid. Okay, so if you are not in touch with all of your emotions and you give yourself permission to feel everything and to know that it's okay, when somebody's having a meltdown outside of you, you will want to make it go away. You will not be able to hold it because it's uncomfortable. Because it's like stirring up something in you that you have not addressed. And so it's like, go away, stop. You won't be able to listen. You won't be able to be there. And in fact, a lot of times people, but particularly men, because they're wired more in the solar plexus, they're wired in that chakra that has to do with protecting and survival. So they don't have time for emotions. They have emotions. They have a heart. Of course they do, but they're more wired in the survival chakra. Women are wired in the heart, so we're often deemed as being over emotional, which is not being in touch with your emotions. It's just crying about it. And men get angry about when emotional people are in their space. They just want to make it go away. They want to shut it up. They can't take it because they have not healed their own stuff. Can you find that? That's what happens. You see a lot of men being angry when someone is having a problem, an emotional breakdown. The man gets like, he doesn't know what to do, or the woman, but it's because you're not healed in that area. And so, when you're healed, can you imagine going to see the Buddha? You go before the Buddha, and the Buddha comes out of that statue as a live man and says, well, Stop your crying. That's just ridiculous. What do you mean? You come here and you cry in front of me like that? Just stop it. It's not a big deal, okay? He can't hold space. But he wouldn't be the Buddha if he couldn't hold space. The Buddha can hold space. So you go and you talk to the Buddha. He comes out of the statue. He stands up and he's like, well, what's going on? And you tell him and he just listens and he acknowledges you because he can hold space. Why? Because he's flushed up and out all the darkness from the unconscious. And all that's in there now is love. So love recognizes a call for love. So if you're reacting to someone's meltdown, then that's your unhealed stuff. Okay? How's that, Yazid? I hope that helps you. Yeah. Okay. How about this one? My mother gave me the silent treatment. How about that? And women are good for that. They give their husbands the silent treatment all the time. Women give silent treatment. Men too, but we're talking about women today because of Mother's Day. But yeah, that's a big one. So the silent treatment could mean like, well, I'm just not going to react. I'm just not even going to say anything to that. And if someone says, well, what do you think? You just don't have an opinion because you're giving them the silent. You don't want to share from your heart. You don't want to open. Or you're welcome. Or you're physically giving the silent treatment where the male will say, are you okay? And you're, yes, I'm fine. With a tone. And you're absolutely not fine. Right? Well, what do you mean? You don't sound like you're fine. Well, what? You should be able to figure out after what you said to me this morning. Can't you figure it out for yourself? Do I have to tell you? Oh, the games. The games. All right. My mother yelled a lot. My mother yelled a lot. Was your mother angry? My mother taught me that men are no good. And if she didn't tell you, hey, honey, men are no good, she just demonstrated that men are no good. You picked it up. That's why we now have silence is the worst. It really is. It really is. That's abusive, right? Yeah. What was I saying before that?
About not liking men.
Oh, yeah. When, you don't like, I remember my grandmother. Ooh, my grandmother hated men. And she just would come right out and say it. She'd say, they stink.
It's so rude.
They're so rude. When I was little, my grandmother said she had male boarders. And she said, they all stink. Oh, I was like, well, I don't smell anything. I was like 8. What did I know? But yeah, so, but somewhere I would pick that up, that men are bad. Men are no good. Of course you would. It's part of the programming. Why do you think we have a planet of women who want to be like men? Where's the goddess? Where's the female? Where's the feminine? Women want to take that control and that power. And I'm not talking about being submissive or a doormat. Like you want to be the royal, divine segment, the mother energy who is clear and focused, and she's balanced her masculine within. So she's very empowered, right? So, my mother wore the pants in the family, and she emasculated my father. My mother was needy. She always needed to be fixed. I always had to fix my mother, let's say. My mother used emotional blackmail to get her needs met. My mother seemed mad a lot. My mother isolated herself from others. My mother had problems with addictions. Yeah. Okay, so now these are just some of the questions. All right. So now we're ready to look at our own core beliefs, values, and attitudes that you adopted from your mother or at least you were influenced by her ways of being. Okay, so we're going to go to another level of healing now. When you uncover the hidden core beliefs picked up from your mother, you'll be able to see how you, in many ways, projected them onto other people, and you're the living demonstration of your mother's beliefs. You took them on, and that's you. But it doesn't look like mom because you're doing it in a different way, but you're still doing it. Your mother controlled you in this way. You're not controlling people in that way, but you're controlling people that way. You're still a control freak, okay? So, all right. Number 1, your mother had a set of ideas pertaining to how you should be. She had ideas about how you should behave or conduct yourself. What expectations did you feel, or do you feel, she had of you? What did your mother expect of you? And you felt like you had to live up to that. And what do you believe were her reasons for wanting what she wanted for you? Why would she want you to become a nurse? Why would she want you to take over her business? And did you comply? What good qualities did your mother embody that you most want to emulate? And how would that benefit you by doing just that? What were the good things about your mom? And you spent a lot of years making them wrong, but actually, if you could embody some of those wonderful traits or ways of being that your mom had, it could change your life. What negative qualities or influences or values did your mother present to you? Like, what were your mother's values? What was important to her? And what were your mother's ideas and attitudes about the world? What were they based on? Fear? Love? And what did your mother's attitude teach you about the world? Was it a safe place? Was it a place of scarcity and lack? Did you have to work hard for a living? What did she teach you in general about the world and who you need to be within it in order to survive? What is your overall attitude toward your mother? And be honest. And how did you deal with your mother growing up? And can you find those ways? Like, if you dealt with her in a way was like indifference, like, do you still continue to treat people that way? And how do you deal with your mother now? How do you treat your mother now? List down 5 core beliefs about women that you have with regards to money, sex, spirituality, relationships, career. Write down these 5 things that you picked up from your mother that have affected you today, because those are your core beliefs. Whatever you think about men, sex, relationships, money, career, spirituality, you picked up those core beliefs from your mother.
We have a question.
Okay, question.
An anonymous question.
Okay.
Okay, the question is, I frequently saw my parents quarrel and yet they had sex. I was confused, which part do I need to heal?
Both. Yeah. Because, okay, the question is, I saw my parents quarrel and then I knew they had sex. So what's wrong with that? That's where the answer is. What is wrong with that? What's wrong with them quarreling and then having sex? What's wrong with that? That the healing juice is in your answer to that, because you have a belief, and it could be people who quarrel shouldn't have sex. We don't know, but you have to go deep. Well, what does that mean? So maybe you would have this belief like, if I ever get married, we will never quarrel. Because quarreling is evil. And if we do quarrel, we will never have sex, because why would I have sex with someone that I quarrel with? Because I believe, fill in that blank. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Okay, where was I now?
You were the 5 core beliefs about women, money, sex, spirituality, career, and men.
Okay.
To list out those.
Okay. Deal with mother growing up. Da 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 da. Okay. Okay, and then what you can do with this, because it's Mother's Day, you can get yourself a piece of paper, and in writing, do it by hand. Don't type it. There's something about picking up a pen and writing. Okay? Express what you feel your mother came to teach you about yourself. Think about your answers and then see if you are being triggered in any way by memories from your past. For example, let's say that your mother had a problem with screaming and yelling at you and raging in abusive ways that made you feel afraid. You would then know that you would also be holding on to an energy of abuse as being expressed or suppressed anger. It's in there. But your mother expressed it, and maybe you're suppressing it, but it's still there. And if you have angry people in your space, if you have people around you that are a certain way, it's in there. Okay? You would know this because most likely you have agitated, frustrated, or angry people around you. You may not be verbally abusive, but maybe you're physically abusive. Or you beat or caned your child. Or maybe you're emotionally abusive. Or maybe you just use the silent treatment to attack. Either way, you have anger issues. Take time to think and know that you needed to see and be on the receiving end of that energy, of that certain behavior. In other words, your mother demonstrated what you don't know about yourself. And then you're on the receiving end of it. So, and as an adult, you still put it out in some way. Okay? But anyway, that's the gift that she's bringing. So whatever triggers you, see it as the healing gift. Here are some trigger words that can help activate your story. My mother was complaining, bitchy, moody. If any of these pop up for you, write them down. I'll go a bit slower. Complain, bitchy, moody, a martyr, jealous, resentful, unforgiving, nagging. She was stern with no sense of humor. She was miserly with money. She was suspicious of people. She was condescending. She was demanding. She had issues with her own mother. My mother was compulsive. She was obsessive. She was sick all the time. She was abusive, overbearing, jealous, resentful, and just add some more of your own. These are trigger words. If any of these words trigger you, go deeper with them. Because remember, we're both parents critical, and I find myself, oh, yeah. Okay, Michael, that's good. That's a great word, critical. Okay, you might want to add that to your list there, guys, but add on some words. What if your mother suppressed anger? So you're probably doing one of two things too, suppressing or expressing. Or suppressed anger will bring angry people around you. Yeah. Like growing up, you would have had angry people around you, or you were abusive, you were being angry, and it can be, listen, guys, you have to use all of the different senses. You're saying it, or you're using your eyes and shooting daggers at someone. It's a tone of voice. It's sharp. It's curt. It's harsh. It's not warm and inviting. It's, you're this. Your body language is closed. Like anger can express itself in many ways. And we want to know all of this darkness. We want to get in touch with all of it. How's the tone of your voice? Is it inviting? Or does it have a curtness to it? Right? How about your stance? How about, can you feel your heart close when a certain person shows up? Like, this is the kind of deeper work now. We've peeled away like the obvious. But as you go higher or wider in your awareness, you start to get more into the subtleties. Okay? So, yeah, take a look at that. Okay, remember, the mother role is to play out your feminine, your female side, so you can see the parts of you need to forgive or give up to the spirit. So take a closer look at your answers and then begin the process of seeing the legacy that your mother left you, so you can stop this cycle of insanity, like generation. Just keep passing down the same stuff. We want to get to a point where every mother says to their child when they are born, you are a divine mind in the mind of God, and I am here to help bring that out. And let's work together. You still are disciplined with your child. It's love and discipline. You're a strong mother, but you're in touch with your stuff. So hopefully, the generations, wake up to that. That's our job, right? All right. Okay. The legacy that mom passed to you is a beautiful gift for you to see where you are too much in the body, too attached to the made up self, identified as an ego, and not enough in the love and light of your true spirit, which is your divine self. You are a divine mind in the mind of God at all times. So in order for you to dwell in the light and love of all that is, we must die to our crazy story of our mother. You have to die to that. St. Paul said, I die daily. You have to die to the story that you've been telling about your mother. Because my mother, myself, and like our beautiful lessons today, God being love is also happiness. And you cannot have happiness in the mind if you're telling a story about your mother. And you can feel there's a difference about telling a story because it's funny now, and then telling a story because it still activates the wounded child. Okay? What do they say? Analysis paralysis. You analyze your story and now you're paralyzed. Like, no. Jesus says today, forget the self-concept and remember God. Okay, so now we're going to open up our heart a little bit more and get your pen out again. And in this one, on Mother's Day, it's time to write a letter to your mother, whether she's in here with you physically on the earth or she's in spirit, expressing your forgiveness and your deep gratitude and respect for her as a son of God who has played the role of teacher to you very well. Start by taking some long, deep breaths before you start, when you're in your quiet time, and then begin to write freely from a healed mind. So you're writing this letter to your mother as though you know that you are what God created. There's no more story. So you're writing to her from a healed mind. It's so beautiful. And you're saying, Mom, back then I had all these thoughts and attacks toward you. I was condemning you. And, now that I see, oh my goodness, I can't even believe the role that you played for me. And I am just so grateful. Regardless, you came down from heaven and you played that role for me to wake up. And I just have nothing but gratitude for you and all the things that you gave me, the blessings, the hardships, all of it. I see it from a different, do you know what I'm saying? You're writing the letter from a healed mind. Tell Mom how grateful you are to her for having shown you where you need to evolve your consciousness toward wholeness. Tell her how well she played her role because you can now see everything so clearly. Let her know that you have let go of blame and feel only gratitude towards her. Express your excitement to her about how you wouldn't have been able to see the truth of your being had you not seen the opposite. Because your mother's acting out was showing you what was in your consciousness. And by experiencing the contrast of oneness, of love, wow, now you're here, awake. So remember to view the story between you and Mom from above the battleground. So you're writing the story from a healed mind, and you're seeing it always from a healed perspective. When you've completed your letter of forgiveness and gratitude to Mom, take this letter outside on a full moon night and burn it. The mother is the moon. The mother is the moon. Let the ethers take your letter. And in doing so, whether your mother is still with you on this physical plane or not, she will receive the blessings that you have bestowed upon her through your ability to forgive and to be grateful. And just know that you, down to your very soul, will be liberated and made free in your heart to love more openly. Having done the lessons and written exercises for both the legacy of your father, which we'll do, and your mother, you are now going to take a closer look at the number of triggers that are similar or exactly the same on both lists. That's something else. But anyway, let's close this session here with a prayer to our mother. So let's do this, because this is the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And so we close our eyes and we put our hands together at the level of our heart. Yeah. And just take a breath in. Feel your heart expand and breathe out. We take another beautiful breath in. We breathe out with a sigh. And one more. Beloved Mother of all, you are the guiding force that ignites the fire of love within my heart. Out of the cosmic womb of creation, in this moment of right now, I am born again. I surrender this distorted view of my earthly mother, and I now see her as myself, born in the light and love of God. Beloved Mother of all, increase in me the capacity to forgive my past, that I might see the gift in the negative, and give me the strength of mind to understand that without my mom, I would not be who I am today. And so it is. Amen. And there we go. We have completed the legacy of your mother. And yes, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So this is a beautiful day of gratitude and a day to go a little deeper, which is always good. It's always good. Yeah. And of course, our lesson, just to remind you, you can read lesson from lesson 117 There they are. God being love is also happiness. Of course it is, because we give up all attack thoughts. We give up all our crazy self-concept. We let it go. We hold only happy thoughts for everything in the world that comes our way. The sunshine, the no sunshine, the rain, the cold, the heat, whatever. It's all happening for our highest good. And then 104, I seek what belongs to me in truth. I am born in the mind of God, and I have a divine mind. That is who I am. When I forget that, I suffer. So today we remember. So once again, happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers and all women everywhere. We really are the ones that are rising up to bring back the balance so we can have peace on earth. So thank you for tuning in. I thank you for your donations, for your love, most of all for us being here together as a family of light. Yeah, only love. And I'll be here this week for another soul astrology session. And I hope you'll join me then. So until then, have a wonderful day and a restful night. I love you so much. A million hugs and kisses. Mwah. Bye for now. Bye.